Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'll let you get your good morning.
Good morning. This is really convenient, eh? Bringing everybody along.
I know.
It's so convenient.
This has exclusively become a road show for us.
Time management is awesome when we do it this way. And being the, sorry, I'm still going.
I know.
Being the ice storm weekend, we're trying to get in a bunch of showings before the ice comes.
Yes. So welcome, everyone, to another episode of our Sunday show, our question and answer session here. We'll get right into the Actually, before we get into the comments, I got to bring up, it's really crazy. I almost feel bad that I brought up the intro song last week.
Oh, yeah. You stirred the hornet's nest with that.
Because I feel like it was flying a little bit under the radar, but now every comment we get. Every other comment is about this intro song. Guys, please give it a chance because we're not going to change it back right now. And actually, let's start off with that comment that's related here. So before we get into the real estate talk, IMIEMSC says, Santos, do not
Why do you stress the Santo?
Because I'm trying to stress it so people stop saying it.
It's not my name, folks.
It's Santos.
There's no S at the end of my name.
This person says, Santos, don't let your son hijack the channel. Bring back the old song.
That's right. You know, the funny part is he's the producer of the show. It's actually his channel. I just happen to be a permanent guest on his channel. It's me that has hijacked the channel.
Give it back. Give it back. But so it's actually so funny because we get so many comments. So underneath this particular comment, there was a person by the name of Metal Slug who came to bat for us actually under a couple different comments.
Thank you.
And we appreciate that.
You know, it is pretty cool when somebody comments something against us. And how many people actually jump in defending us, coming to our rescue?
It's incredible. This is it's a community that clearly we've built.
Where were you when I was in grade school?
Getting bullied.
And I needed your help.
Or when you get bullied now.
Yeah, when I get bullied at home by my wife and kids.
Oh my God, that's funny. So, okay, next comment here is actually a good example of that. So from HC8129, HC says, bro, you're a real estate agent, not some philosopher with profound thoughts. Stick to giving numbers, not life lessons. I think we had the most support I've ever seen of people jumping in and defending us under that one because we had quite a few comments. And yeah, so thank you for everyone that
talking from experience. Though I'm not a philosopher.
No, not.
But if I say buy what you can afford. That, yes, it relates to real estate, but a whole bunch of other parts of life.
Buy what you can afford is apparently.
Buy what you can afford. You can't afford the $150,000 car. Don't do it.
That's a profound thought now, though. So
yeah.
But yeah. So HC, if you don't like the number, or if you don't like the stories, skip to the 7-minute mark of every video, and you should miss them all.
Are they all at 7 minutes?
Give or take. Depends what we're talking about. But anyways, okay. So next comment here comes from Arjun Sagal, and Arjun says, your insights are interesting, but you never have any data for detached houses downtown. Why do you exclude this?
Denny, why are we excluding detached houses from downtown?
So if you look on our map where we break down individual sections, the detached right in central downtown almost always exclusively says 1 or 0. And the reason for that is just on a weekly basis, there are no sales of detached homes in the downtown core.
There are other sales,
right? Yeah, there's other sales. There's sales of semis, there's sales of towns, but there's not enough data every week to put. Even if it's just one sale, how do you get an average price from one sale, right? And so we're not excluding data for downtown. It's just there's no sales that happen. I think when I look at it, or whenever we pull the numbers, it's like what seven active listings for detached in that pocket.
Sometimes
it's very, very low.
And so there's one, or usually it's 0. But there's one, sometimes 2. We're not going to pull an average with
Yeah.
two listings.
Yeah. So, okay. Anyways, next comment here that's why we don't include detached houses. Next comment here comes from MKD319.
Is that Mickey D?
Mickey D, maybe. That reminds me, we should grab lunch. So Mickey D says, I have a question. This is a funny one. So there's a house on my street in Durham region that has a coming soon sign on it.
Oh, no.
This sign has been there for over a month. Is there a time limit to these signs before it actually goes for sale?
I saw this comment when it
Love
came
your
up.
show.
And I got a twitch when I saw this comment. I didn't want to deal with it.
Oh boy, yeah. Me and my dad have PTSD from this exact situation here. And so yeah, there is a time limit before the house needs to go on the market. And this is a rule that was implemented, I think it was late last year.
Yeah, December.
Right? December last year. And basically you have 3 days from the moment the sign goes up to when it needs to be on the MLS. So your coming soon period for the house can be a maximum of 3 days. And why do we know this so specifically? Because so
I don't want to hear this part, but I'm driving.
We had a situation. We had a situation where we had ordered a signpost for a property that we had put up for sale. And generally what we do is we order the posts. The post gets installed at the property. And then we go ourselves to put up the sign 3 days before we're going to go live on MLS. And it just so happened that in this one instance, the signpost installer had a sign that he had removed from one of our previous listings, and he installed it with the signpost.
Doing us a favor.
Yeah.
He thought.
And it happened to be installed 5 days before the listing. And the day it went up, someone took a picture of it.
Some meatball.
Yeah, someone took a picture of it.
Was walking by and said, hey, it's been 5 days. And they took a picture.
Yeah. And then when they were walking by, they took a picture. And then they sent it to Rico. And Rico, this is the
in
place,
their wisdom,
the place
we were sinners.
Yeah. This is the place that people always complain they do nothing. But I can tell you that they did something. Okay?
Yeah.
So we were fined. I think it was $1,800.
It hurts when you say that.
$1,800 for having that signpost 2 days up. And me and my dad both had to go back to school, which was interesting because there's obviously a big age difference between us. We went back to class together. And
we were forced to take a course on MLS rules.
On MLS rules. And so,
you know what they say, though?
What do they say?
The family that gets fined together stays together.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, it's the coming soon is actually a pretty serious, or something that Rico takes pretty seriously. So,
and there's another part to that rule.
Mm-hmm.
You could be thinking, and if there's realtors watching this, you could be thinking, okay, so post or for sale sign, 3 days later, you got to be live. The rule is actually 3 days after you mass advertise to the public. So even if there's no sign, if you post it on your social media or you send it an email blast to everybody you know, that's considered mass advertising. 3 days after that, you need to be live on MLS.
Yeah.
Or Rico will find you.
And they consider, when they talk about like advertising the property, even if you think you're just sending an email to your database and it's just people in my database, I'm sending them individual emails, so it's private. No, that is actually considered mass advertising as well. So anything like that, Rico does take very seriously. We know firsthand. So yeah, a month is a very long time to have a coming soon sign.
Yeah.
Anyways, next comment here comes from Lenny L6856. And Lenny says, is it true that developers include the unusable area in their stated square footage? For example, the entire thickness of the exterior walls and interior walls of your unit, half of the thickness of walls shared with adjacent units, and all of the wall thickness between your unit and common area hallway. I've heard that this is a common notorious practice in Asia. What about Canada and USA?
As far as I know, well, I can't speak for the USA. I could speak for here. I could tell you what should be happening. If it's a freehold property, it's outside brick to outside brick. That's what our rule is for square footage. If it's a condo, like a condo apartment, there shouldn't be any common areas. It can't be like, middle of the hallway
Yeah.
outside to, it's not like that. It's interior square footage if we're talking about apartment condo buildings. So inside brick or drywall or concrete, whatever they got, but it's interior square footage. But they get creative. Let me put it that way. The builders get very creative. It seems they can get away with stuff where we can't.
Yeah. And there was another comment. I didn't bring it up here, but one of the very big or very creative ways they use, or a lot of people use, is living space.
Yes, the old
Living space. Good old living space.
living space.
So square footage of a home is anything above grade, right? And so sometimes you'll see a listing that is a regular subdivision home and they say, 4,500, 5,000 square foot of living space.
Everybody's at 2,500, 2,600.
Yeah.
This one home is like
How is it
4,000
possible?
square feet. Living space they add.
Living space, when they do that, they generally include the basement.
They're playing with words.
Yeah. And so it's not, just be careful when you're looking at listings, especially in a condo building. I mean, I was going to bring up this comment here from Mark Stuckless, who says, I live in a building where many of the units on the floors are identical. I've seen the same floor plan listed anywhere between 900 and 1,100 square feet. The fraud is insane. But that's exactly right.
Yeah.
They, a lot of times they'll pick whatever number is more convenient for them, even though it could be the exact same size unit, right?
Yeah.
And so, that's...
Some of them will include a balcony as part of the square footage. They shouldn't, but they do.
Yeah. So anyways, next comment here comes from Kate the Gardener. And Kate says, this is with regards to our video where the house was being promoted as a 4-bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Because at one point in time it was a 4-bedroom.
It was, and they made it into a bathroom and a closet.
Yeah, made some renovations.
I remember.
And changed that. So Kate the Gardener says, didn't the clients look at the video and photos before going to see the home? It might have saved them the trip to see it and disappointment, as they would have only seen 3 bedrooms. Santos. Kate. Santo, please.
Thank you.
Santo.
Thank you.
I think we've actually conversed with Kate too, no?
We have.
Haven't you?
We have.
Yeah. So, Santo, why would a home that was listed for over a week be relisted at 100,000 more when they had no...
Wait a minute. We didn't deal with Kate's comment.
So let's start with the first one.
The photos. Oh, that's still Kate?
It's still Kate. Yeah.
Okay. So the first part of that is people will look through the photos. I, as a realtor, will look through photos. I'm not necessarily counting 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. You're not really looking at it that way.
And that particular one didn't even have a floor plan virtual tour or anything like that.
Yeah.
You can kind of see the space laid out, right?
Yeah.
And so like even when they post photos, like you'll see there's houses where let's say they'll stage 2 out of 4 bedrooms, and you'll only see pictures of the 2 out of 4 bedrooms. You won't see
just
pictures
the
of the
staged
other
ones.
one.
Yeah.
But you just know that because that house is in this subdivision with these types of homes, you've seen them before.
And there's got to be, it's got to be some professionalism too. If the realtor says it's a 4-bedroom house, it's a 4-bedroom house.
Yeah.
Why are we thinking it's not? And again, to professionalism, if it's something other than that, then in the comments somewhere, it should be pretty clear that it's a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
And that it's been converted and whatnot,
Yeah. So, okay, next part of this comment is, why would a home that was listed for over a week be relisted at $100,000 more when they had no offers at the first price they listed at? I know homes get relisted to go to the top of the list, but this seems like a really bad move if houses aren't selling.
The seller has their expectations. I can't speak to that 100,000 more. We don't know if they received any offers or not. Maybe they did receive offers when they had the offer night and when they were listed with a strategy in the seller's mind that would generate multiple offers. And maybe they did and they refused them all. And maybe they feel that also some buyers never participated because they didn't want to participate in a multiple offer situation in a bidding war. So the seller feels 100,000 more. Now I'm listing it traditionally. I know it's a bit weird. We're at one price and then we go higher, but it happens. It happens a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, that is, it's always an interesting move when we see that happen. You know, if you price a house for offers and then you don't get any and then you still go higher. I mean, the market's kind of telling you what's going on with your house, right?
Yeah. And everybody's wondering what Kate's wondering. What the heck?
Yeah. So, okay, here. Next comment comes from Angelo Verone. And Angelo Verone says, wonder if you can make a video on things to look out for when buying a home with a condo building overlooking a backyard on one side and a commercial building, ice cream shop, 7-Eleven, and Italian pastry shop within, also in the back as well.
It's pretty specific.
How much should a home like that be discounted? Home happens to be in a cul-de-sac. I think if an ice cream shop, 7-Eleven, and Italian pastry shop are that close,
That sounds like a premium.
I know you gotta put a gate in the backyard.
Straight. So you don't have to walk around the block to get
there. But so that sounds like a lot of stuff to be in a condo building on one side, commercial building on the other side.
Yeah, and when you say what to watch out for, I think you just named them.
Yeah.
Those are the things to watch out for.
Yeah.
But getting to the serious part of your question, how much should you discount? It would depend on the neighborhood. It depends on how it looks. It depends on the house. Like, I couldn't possibly answer that question without specifically seeing the property and the neighborhood and the house.
Yeah.
And making my comment from there.
Yeah. Like we had a property that we had listed, I remember a couple of years ago, that backed onto an industrial area. And
right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it was the showings were packed on the weekends and everyone loved it because it was so quiet.
Very quiet back there.
So quiet on the weekends, but any showing that happened during the week, they had a different experience, let's say.
It's busier. Yeah. Trucks were pulling in and out.
Yeah. So
some of the factories had their warehouse doors open and you could hear the factories.
Yeah. And I remember the person that bought that one, they actually ended up coming back during the week because they thought about it. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, okay, we should probably see what this sounds like at the peak of busy hours for the industrial buildings there. But yeah, so just keep that in mind, I guess. Okay, so next comment here comes from Can-Do234.
Buddy, 2-minute count.
I know. Okay, so we do have a showing that we're arriving at in 2 minutes. So if we just abruptly pause, just know that we will be back.
Using up the 2 minutes. Go.
Yeah. Hello, Santo. Thanks for sharing your insights. Very helpful for first-time home buyers like me. Would request you to please share pros and cons of buying condo townhouse versus freehold townhouse. Condo townhouses are typically $100,000 to $150,000 cheaper to buy. What are typical maintenance charges for freehold townhouses? Thanks.
The condo townhouse or the freehold townhouse with a pottle fee is cheaper than a straight freehold townhouse because that fee, whether it's a maintenance fee or pottle fee, is calculated as it takes up part of your mortgage payment. So whatever you're pre-approved for, it's a little bit less. When you buy the condo, the maintenance fee becomes part of your expenses. So you're approved for a little bit less. Plus, with a freehold, you own the land. In a condo, you don't own the land. And that's a significant difference. And with the freehold, you could, most cases, do whatever you want. But with a condo townhouse, the outside is normally controlled by the condo board. So you can't change your door. You can't, do other things. So there are significant differences. Which one is better? Well, that's really a personal situation, right? There's people that buy condo townhouses. Sometimes it's a matter of affordability. Sometimes it's because of location. There's all sorts of reasons. Sometimes the community of the condo townhouse, it may have a swimming pool or a tennis court or something else. And they enjoy that. Whereas the freehold doesn't usually have any of that. So it's personal.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to pause now because we have arrived at our showing. but we will be back. For you, it'll be a matter of seconds. For us, it'll probably be half an hour. Okay. See you soon.
We're
Okay,
back.
We're back. A little bit of movie magic and we're back. Okay, let's get into the next question here, which comes from JLCV8HD. And Jay says, I know someone with a vacant lot up for sale for almost a year, listed at peak price and 4x what they paid, 4 times what they paid for it. They said they won't lower the price, even though they'll still make money, because they think the buyer would turn around and sell it at the peak price. So yes, logic is gone and stubborn pride greed. They also have family and government backups.
I don't know what he means by government backup, but okay. So you have a seller that doesn't want to reduce their price. I don't know if the fact that it's a vacant lot plays much into that, but you have a seller doesn't want to reduce the price and it's sitting there unsold. Okay. I don't understand. We see that everywhere across the GTA.
Well, I think in particular with vacant lots, like vacant lot is not the same as a resale property, right? So in terms of getting financing for a vacant lot,
it's difficult.
It's different than it is for a for a house or a lot with a house on it.
The resale market is, say, this big. The vacant lot market is like this big.
Yeah. And we have some experience with vacant lots. We worked with...
We've sold several.
Yeah, we've sold several of them. We worked with clients who have put up their vacant lots for sale. And yeah, I think the dynamic when it comes to a seller and a vacant lot is a little bit different than the seller with a resale, whatever it is, condo or house, right?
Yeah.
I think that with the vacant lot, right? Obviously, they're not living on that vacant lot, so it's generally something that someone has, and a lot of times there's no mortgage on them, right? So they are paid off, and so it's. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes, like we had one particular seller with the vacant lot that was very, very stuck on their price.
Yeah,
and we were getting.
How did that go?
Well, I mean, we received offers that were about 100,000 lower, if I'm not mistaken, than what we were listed at.
Right.
And after however many months it was, they decided, you know what? Okay, let's relist it at a higher price.
Right. Crazy, right?
Yeah. It didn't really make sense, but that's just how some of these people are that have vacant lots. It's different.
If you're trying to kind of ballpark guess of what makes sense price-wise with a vacant lot, look at what new homes would, try to estimate what a new home in that subdivision would sell for. Figure out what that home costs, back out that price from the final price, and you kind of get the idea of what the vacant lot should sell for. Yeah. This is for an end user. For a builder, it's different because you got to build in profit also. But if all the homes are selling, say for, let's say $2 million, a new home in that neighborhood, and it'll cost you $1 million to build a home, well, that vacant lot's probably worth about $1 million, right? $1 million to buy, $1 million to build, puts you in the market for what a new home would sell for. But if your vacant lot's priced at 1.5 million, if you build, you're now into it for 2.5 million. Yeah. You're like way over what a typical home would sell for in the area. Assuming you're building a typical home. Remember, this is very rough ballpark calculation.
Yeah, and then that's also assuming the vacant lot is a vacant lot kind of in a neighborhood and not necessarily just
we can start to get into all the permutations. Yeah. You know what I think?
What do you think?
We've talked way too much about a vacant lot.
Okay. Sounds good. Next question here comes from Jamie Chung, OP1RI. And Jamie says, great show as usual, guys.
Thank you.
I just realized that we are so focused on Santo that I forgot what your son's name is.
What?
Santo Jr.? ? It would be nice to know his name too. Great father and son show. So You know what? I realized
Introduce yourself, buddy.
when we do these, I don't introduce myself. My name's Daniel. My name's Daniel Sessa.
But enough about him.
Yeah, that's it. back to Santo. Okay, next comment here comes from Pat Semkism. And Pat Semkism says, some of the recently constructed homes in the GTA don't have garage access from the house. You have to enter from outside. Furthermore, the space is so tight, passengers need to exit the vehicle before it's driven into the garage. No wonder people just use them as storage lockers.
The comment, unfortunately, is very true. And some of these garages, you kind of gotta, you gotta get
out from the trunk.
You gotta get out from the trunk or get out before you drive in. It's so true. But they pass building codes and they're built according to codes. You could find a whole bunch in that neighborhood that'll have access from the garage into the home. There's a door there, but then, sorry, it's a big truck here. But then you have a few properties because the elevation and the landscape there just doesn't allow for that type of entrance. It won't meet code. And so they don't do it. But they don't tell you that when you buy it new. If you buy it new from the builder, they'll say, if it's permitted, there'll be a door entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Until they build it, they don't always, they decide that later on. And then next thing you know, you thought you had an entrance and now you don't.
Okay, so next comment here comes from J. Rochest. And J. Rochest says, and this is in response to, we went on a little tangent last week. We go on a lot of tangents on these videos, but we went on a little tangent last week of how mom doesn't watch these videos. And J. Rochest
My own wife doesn't watch these videos, folks.
I assume that Santo's wife says, I listen to you every day. Why would I listen to your videos? Always enjoy your postings, guys. Thanks.
She says, if I hear you one more, where do you think I get this from? It's from her. If I hear you one more time.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I think that's pretty spot on. But anyways, okay, so we're going to end it off with our last comment here, which comes from XO82. And XO says, "Aw, you guys are so sweet. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, and ever since I found your channel, I've watched all your weekday shows up till the start of the stats. And I watch your Sunday shows in full. Keep up the great work. I might be from Western Canada, but I get a lot of value from your videos. Thank you and enjoy your Sunday."
That's awesome. Thank you from Edmonton. And
thank you from Toronto.
Thank you from Toronto all the way to Edmonton. Thank you for correcting me. And that's why we do this together, because I get half the stuff wrong and he keeps sorting me out.
Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for all your support in the videos and the comments. We really, really appreciate it. It's so incredible to see how many people, watch these and really enjoy and benefit from them. So thank you so much again.
And his name is Daniel.
Yes.
My name is Santo, no S at the end.
And we are signing off. Enjoy your Sunday. We'll see you again soon.
Have a great weekend.